What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Spin Fuel's Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today is Fresh Build Friday. We're going to be going back in time today and doing a simple macro coil build. The reason behind that is because I've been getting a ton of views on my old macro coil build video, and I kind of wanted to just update people on my new style of building, my new style of wicking, and to kind of educate the newbie vapors once again, because I feel like a lot of people are still interested in building simple coils. So this one's definitely going to be for you guys. So stay tuned. After the little commercial break, we'll go down into the close-up section and build some coils for you.
Yeah, you know what it is, man. It's your boy Joey Jokes, man. Shout out to Daily Vape TV, man. They're doing it fucking big at ECC. Yeah!
Alright guys, so this is the close-up section. Let's just go ahead and introduce our tools real quick. We have our mod, which is a Tugboat V2 with a Tugboat Addy on top. Simple screwdriver. This is great because it has different bits in the top piece here, and these just flip around like this here, so you can get the Phillips or flathead screwdrivers if needed. We have basic wire cutters. Got these on Amazon for about like $8 or $9, I think. We have our Half Moon Mod coil jig. I'm going to be showing off this in the next couple videos for Fresh Build Fridays. Just a really handy tool for anyone that's just getting started with building. And we have some flat tooth pliers. These are important because if they had teeth on them, they would really knurl up the wire pretty bad, and you don't want that. You want nice clean wire. Speaking of wire, we have 24 gauge regular Canthal A1 from Kidney Punchers. You can get like 250 feet of this stuff for pretty cheap. So if you're just getting into building, this is almost essential. You want to get the bigger spool of wire. I have two roughly 6-inch sections. So let's get started. First of all, you want to just take off the jig part of the coiler, and you want to get out your bits. This Half Moon Mod subby comes with 3 different size bits, 3/32, 7/64, and 1/8 inch. Today, since we're going to be doing a macro coil build, I'll be using the 1/8 inch. The other thing I like about this Half Moon Mod jig is that it's all self-contained. So once you select the bit that you want to use, you can just put the other 2 away and go ahead and get started. It's an ambidextrous jig, so this hole goes all the way through, so you can use either lefty or righty. There's also the wire holder here, which you can trap the wire in, which you can go through either side. So you're just going to take your piece of wire, insert it through the little hole, and make a quick bend at the top there. Then, depending on which way you wrap your coils, you can either go from the front or the back. Usually I wrap my coils going for the top front first lead going over the top. So we'll start it like this. Then you want to put on the knurled part, the actual part that actually does all the work here. And what you want to do is just lock it into one of those knurls and then start your wraps. So the way you do this is just by flipping this piece over here and letting the wire slip through your finger, and it's going to automatically wrap the coil. So today we're going to do 6 wraps. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So then when you take this knurled piece off here and you unbend this piece of wire here, and this is effortless. I mean, I just did that in about 10 seconds right there, and you get a perfect macro coil. This will work with parallel wires as well if you wanted to do a parallel build, all the way up to triple parallel. And it looks about, with this hole here, you can get probably about 18 gauge through there, I think. So you might even be able to build with a huge gauge wires like that. So that's one coil built. I'm just going to repeat this process again, and we'll get our second coil done. So one thing I like to do before putting my coils into my atomizer is just doing a quick dual 90-degree bend on the negative lead. So you just grab the wire with your flat pliers and bend it 90 degrees parallel to the post or to the jig. Then leave a little bit of room and then bend it back 90 degrees. And what that does is it gives you a little bit of room to force that coil over towards the center. So it gives you a nice centered build. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do, just grab my mod. So I have both of my coils ready to go. I'm just going to insert the longer lead first, which is the positive on this case. And just make sure it fits in. So with that 90-degree bend, I grab it with the pliers and make sure it's nice and tight. And I also bend up the other lead. Just makes it easier to fit in the other coil. There we go. And again, just bend that up a little bit. I know it looks like a mess right now, but in 30 seconds it's going to look a lot better. So now you just want to tighten down your leads. Just make sure you have a decent amount of room in between the post and where the coil starts. And you want to put the bit back through and straighten up your coil, neaten it out a little bit. And then you want to go ahead and clip off your leads. So I do the negatives first. And with the positives, I usually just bend them and spin them a little bit until they come off. It's a lot easier than getting in there with the cutters. And if your other coil's moving like that, then you want to make sure it's just good and tight. There we go. Just comes right off just like that. So just like that, you have two really nice macro coils. I'm just going to bend them up a little bit. And you're pretty much ready to give them a quick dry fire. So we're going to do that. So you want to just tap the button until they start to warm up a little bit. And a lot of people have been telling me to strum the coils, which is actually what I've been doing a lot lately, and it's been working out really nicely. So basically you can just heat them up and just kind of brush them a little bit. Just kind of gets out any hot spots. Just be very careful with it. And always double check your screws. Make sure they're good and tight. There we go. So, all right, so we're looking pretty good. Just kind of snug them up a little bit more, and we'll be ready to wick. Alright, so now we have our Japanese cotton here. You don't need that much cotton, just a thin strip. something like that. You can pretty much see through it still. You don't want it too thick because then it might clog it up a little bit. So I just take it one end and roll it pretty tight, just in the width of the coil there, so you can just fit it through. Leave the rest as fluffy as possible. So you find a spot where it gets tight, but not too tight. Pull it back a little bit so both ends kind of fluff out. And then you can just trim off the excess. You want it about the same as the width of the deck. You don't need too much cotton in there. Okay, so now we're just going to do our other coil. And wicking just takes a lot of practice. That's one thing I noticed. It took me a while to really get the wicking technique down. But once you get it, it's just like riding a bike. So now I tend to flip my screwdriver around to the flathead side and just fluff up the cotton just a little bit. I like to break apart those loose edges, or those tight edges rather, just to aid the wicking a little bit. I find that anytime that there's any little bit of crushed cotton in there, it tends to dry hit a little bit more rapidly for me. So I like to just give it a quick fluff before I stick it into the well. And then when I do stick it into the well, I just gently kind of bend it over. Try not to crush it too much, because I know that if you crush your cotton, it just does not do anything for your wicking. So just be as gentle as possible with it. And I also don't put any cotton underneath the coil. That's imperative for airflow in the atomizer itself. And I really wanted to do these videos just to kind of show off the new technique and new style that I use for building my coils. My older video has a ton of views, but it's kind of showing off an older way of doing things, and I just wanted to update you guys on what I've been up to lately and just a newer style. Alright, so we're looking pretty good here. Alright, so this is pretty much what you should have right now. As you can see, I don't tuck my cotton directly under my coils. I have a nice little gap here for airflow to get through, and that's definitely going to help me out a lot as far as just the overall experience of this build. And for the liquid today, I'll be using some Vapor City Sauce Rebel. So basically, you just kind of want to saturate that cotton. Don't miss any part of it, because that first hit will be pretty rough if you do. So just kind of soak the whole thing. Alright, so we're ready to give it a quick little test fire here before we go back to the main screen. Alright, we're looking good. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape, and I'll talk about this build. Alright guys, we're back. I hope you enjoyed the close-up build section of the video. Now we're going to talk about this build a little bit. So as you may have noticed, I did not use an ohms reader. For all you newbie vapors out there, I really highly recommend you use an ohms reader. They're really cheap. They're like 15 to 20 bucks online. You can get them pretty much anywhere. And or a multimeter if you have one of those and know how to use one. Definitely recommend that for any of you first-time builders out there. I've done this build a million times, so I know the actual resistance of this. 6-rap-24 around a 1/8 inch bit always comes out to around 0.3 ohms with regular Kanthal A1. If you're using Royal wire or any specialty wire or anything like that, I would either add a couple extra spins on, probably 8 wraps, or I would just, like I said, get yourself an ohms reader and make sure you're building safe. The lowest resistance you can build safely on a Sony 18650 VTC 4 or 5 is, I believe, 0.23 ohms. This one reads right about 0.3, so you know it's nice and safe. You have that little bit of bubble room. For any of you advanced builders out there, really this one's going to be cake for you guys. For all the newbies that are watching that are first-time builders or anything like that, this one's definitely going to be for you. The difficulty of this build is very, very easy. Highly recommend doing this one before you get into any other extreme builds like Clapton coils or twisted wire or anything like that. Make sure you got the basics down before getting into any of that stuff. But for you guys that have been building coils for a while, you've probably done this same build about a million times just like me. For the heat, it's not too hot. It's nice warm vape. It's definitely not a cool vape whatsoever, but it's a nice warm vape. The ramp up time is a little bit longer than I expected, but it's not too bad on a mechanical mod. If you have a regulated mod and you're using IPv3 or Sigelli 150 or any of those mods out there, I usually use this one between 80 and 100 watts. I know this is pretty much the exact same build I did for the 100 watt plus video, but I really highly recommend this one for anyone that's looking to build their first mechanical mod, just because I know that it's safe. So yeah, let's get one more rip on this thing and I'll let you guys go. So for all you newbie builders out there, definitely try this one out. If you want to pick up the Half Moon Mod coil jig like I used in this video, I'll have the link in the description below if you want to check that out for yourselves. Stay tuned for my next Fresh Build Fridays because I'll be doing a simple micro coil build as well. Just kind of rehashing my old build videos, just kind of updating you guys and just keeping you abreast of what I've been up to lately with my latest builds. But you want to focus on the newbie builders first because safety is the #1 factor. Make sure you stay tuned for my upcoming debut for Vape Magazine. I'll be in the next issue of Vape Magazine with a battery safety and tips little article there. I will be having an article in every single issue of Vape Magazine from now on. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a big thing for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, hit the like button down there and subscribe for more of my content. Check out www.spinfuel.com for more of my videos, as well as Smoke and Joey and Spin Fuel videos. And as always, vape on.